Just as the more extreme physical force party in the provinces waited upon London for a signal, so many of the upland weavers waited impatiently for Manchester to commence the insurrection. Fury, not only against the authorities, but also, one suspects, against this apathetic Babylon of the factory system, nourished the talk in 1817 and again in 1819 of starting the insurrection by making a Moscow of Manchester. And at the end of 1819, when the Manchester movement was beginning to break up in a welter of personal disputes and warring factions, an entertaining report by a spy upon an appallingly rancorous and disorderly meeting of the Manchester Union concludes: at this moment presented themselves two countrymen, one of which got up and wished to know if this was the Union. It was some time before anyone spoke. At last some person said it should be. The stranger then said he came from Flixton to see how reform was going on. Some one cried out, "Did Justice Wright send you?" The old man took no notice, but continued that in their country hundreds were daily joining their sections, and if he was to tell them what he had seen this night, they would never put any confidence in the Manchester Union. Several of the leaders got round the strangers and persuaded them not to mention what they had seen that night. These people were, of course, in the main handloom weavers, whose problems and way of life we have examined in an earlier chapter. By 1819, whole communities of Lancashire weavers had adhered to the cause of reform, and from this time until the last Chartist years, weavers and stockingers were always among its staunchest and most extreme adherents. Successive failures in their agitations for parliamentary protection led directly to the question of the reform or overthrow of the seat of government itself. They could not hope to improve their position by trade union action alone, and the failure of the great weavers' strike of 1818 to bring any enduring gains underlined the lesson. If the ideology of economic independence and sturdy political individualism voiced by Cobbett and Hunt was out of key with the factory hands' experience, it fitted that of the weavers like a glove. The weavers shared Cobbett's dislike of the noise and oppression of the mills. His emphasis upon every man's right to obtain, by the sweat of his own brow, a square meal, a decent coat, and physical well being. His suspicion of London, paper money, the thing, his preference for moral rather than utilitarian argument, his nostalgia for passing rural values. Indeed, they responded eagerly to most of the views of Cobbett in 1817, except for his disavowal of political societies and clubs.